is transportation? Well, transportation is an act of moving humans, goods, and animals from place to place. A little history on transportation. Around 2500 BC, the first wheeled vehicles were used. The wheels were attached to carts and chariots to transport small loads. Meanwhile, we also have transportation service, which brings the meaning of providing a service for moving people or passengers from one place to another with a fee charged according to the type of transport and the destination. Next, to quote what Uthman and Ali have stated in 2020 regarding automobile dependency, automobile dependency has always been viewed as a potential threat to religious urban areas as it contributes to the increase in traffic congestions, higher accident rate, inefficient usage of urban land, environmental pollution, adverse economic impacts, urban sprawling, and reduces the overall quality of public transportation. Which is why, in this assignment, me and my team would like to focus on transportation services. Specifically, we would like to study the usage of transportation services among UM students, as well as other things related to transportation services that we will discuss further in this video.
Next, we generally measure the frequency of using public transport in University Utara Malaysia students in terms of their daily activities. In more detail, we will discuss about descriptive statistic, inferential statistic, and parameters. Firstly, descriptive statistic is a brief of data information which can be represent a population. Based on collecting data by using questionnaires, will be used to obtain the distribution of a sample of 380 UUM students from School of Finance, Economic and Banking (SEFB) that use public transport. Therefore, there are 120 students from course of Finance, 100 students from course of Economic, and 160 students from course of Banking, and the total would be 380 students. We use online Rosli calculator to calculate a sample of SEFB UUM students. Besides that, inferential statistic is an analytical tool to make a hypothesis of a population data through sample data. Further analysis using inferential statistic can be applied in order to say about the level of dissatisfaction among students with public transportation. Let's say there are 70% of the students say that the buses are unpunctuated. It means that many students feel dissatisfied with UUM buses because most of the time the bus drivers do not follow the schedule that has been provided. However, UUM students still prefer using the buses over sapu because there is a fee charge if they use sapu. And then 60% of UUM students say that they like to use the bus service as the service is free. Then parameters is a numerical value summarizing all data of an entire population. There are two parameters to be obtained in this study, which are the average money spent on transportation service by all UUM students and variance of the number of time of all UUM students using transportation service in a week. Last but not least, statistic is a numerical value summarizing the data of sample. For example, the average money spent on transportation service by 380 students and the variance of the number of time of 380 students using transportation service in a week.
We chose primary data as our main purpose to collect information in these assignments. The reasons why we choose primary data than secondary data are, firstly, it is because of the data from primary data is more accurate. People more rely on themselves than relying on others' data. Also, it is more reliable than secondary data. Secondly, the information of primary data is up to date, where the data collected is first-hand data. It is generally prepaid through a questionnaire, thus the information they receive is valid and updated. Last but not least, it is more easier to understand. The data gathered through various designs and methods are made plain and simple to comprehend so that the person who is interested in it may quickly comprehend it. For the next pie is the population and sample, where in UUM have 30,670 students that study in many courses where the data was taken from UUM Wikipedia page. We decided to use sample size calculator to calculate the sample from the population. Based on the sample size calculator, it is already stated that margin of error is 5%, the confidence level we choose 95%, and the response distribution is 50%. So for the sample of population, we get 380 students of UUM that use transportation in UUM in terms of their daily activities.
We had chosen questionnaire as our data collection technique for collecting primary data. We had conducted this questionnaire start from 20 October 2032 by using Google Form, which we believe is the best platform for us to collect primary data about the frequency of using public transport in UUM students in terms of their daily activities. However, we had discovered some disadvantages in using the questionnaire to collect primary data. The first disadvantage is difference in understanding and interpreting of the questions. We overcame this problem by adding example of answer after some questions to avoid misunderstanding of the questions by the respondent and lead to inaccurate answer. The second disadvantage is less and poor responses. To overcome this problem, we use WhatsApp to remind respondents to answer the questionnaire and prepare some pre-gift for all the respondents. The third disadvantage is not suitable for delicate questions. Therefore, we set the question as simple as possible and show examples of answer after some questions that we thought they might be confused by. The fourth disadvantage is accessibility issues. To address this issue, we had double confirmed the status of the respondents before we send the questionnaire to them.
First of all, I would like to list the variables with different scale: nominal scale, ordinal scale, interval scale, and ratio scale. Nominal scale is a quantitative data which are unordered category data, while ordinal scale is a qualitative data which are data arranged in order. Interval scale is a quantitative data which does not have natural starting point, which is 0, while ratio scale is a quantitative data have natural starting point. These are the variables which nominal scale: gender, sex, ethnicity, ethnic, and cost of the student, type of transport use, and destination. Secondly, for the ordinal scale, the variables are vehicle preference and vehicle type. Besides, the variable of interval scale are punctuality of the transportation service and the year starting use transportation service. Lastly, the variable of ratio scale are explained in transportation service and the number of time using transportation service in a week.
The slide shows the questionnaire that we use through Google Form. You may pause the video to watch clearly. This slide shows the question for nominal scale. This slide shows the question for ordinal scale. This slide shows the question for interval scale. This slide shows the question for ratio scale.
In a conclusion, the result from the questionnaire can help us to know about the transportation service which often used and suggested by UM students. So we can know that which transportation service is better and we can recommend it to the student of UM, as this can help them to get the best transportation service.